Hello everyone, welcome back to our class. Materials needed, math textbook, and pencil. Today we will be learning about picture graphs, textbook pages 821 to 824. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to draw picture graphs and use them to solve problems. Let's review about bar graphs. Bar graphs can be organized and display data. The height or length of bars in a bar graphs makes it easy to compare data. Are you ready? Let's start learning. Open your book on page 821. Solve and share. The graph shows the favorite subjects for a class. How can you use the graph to write the data in this table? Tell how you know. What are you asked to do? Use the graph to write the same data in the table. What do you already know that can help you solve the problem? I can get the data by looking at the pictures in the graph. What does each smiley face represent? Each smiley face represents one student. How can you find out how many students like each subject? I can count the faces in each row. Let's analyze this. We have Lily's work and Erin's work. Lily sees that each face equals one student and counts the faces to find the data to record for each subject. She is also able to explain how she found the answers. Erin looks at the graph and sees which row has the most and fewest faces, and then writes which subject is the favorite and which is the least favorite.
How can you show data in a picture graph? Let's find out. The tally chart shows the favorite ball games of Ms. Green's class. You can show the same data in another way. Choose a symbol to represent the data. The symbol will be a stick figure. Each symbol represents one student. A picture graph uses pictures to show data. You can draw the symbols to show the data. Look at the picture graph.
8 students chose soccer.
How many students chose tennis as their favorite sport? 4 students chose tennis. How do you know? There are 4 stick figures in the graph, and each stick figure represents one student. How would you read the graph differently if each stick figure represented 2 students? 4 students chose baseball, 16 students chose soccer, and 8 students chose tennis. Why is a picture graph a good way to display data? The pictures are easy to see and count. How can you check if the correct number of symbols were drawn for each game? You can compare the number of symbols to the number of tallies for each game. They should be equal. Now you know how to show data in a picture graph.
The tally chart shows the favorite ball games of Miss Green's class. Favorite ball games, we have baseball, soccer, and tennis. Based on the tally chart, how many students chose soccer as their favorite sport? There are 8 students. How many students chose tennis as their favorite sport? Let us count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 students. You can show the same data in another way. We can choose a symbol to represent the data. In this example, the symbol will be stick figure. Each stick figure represents 1 student. A picture graph uses pictures to show data. You can draw the symbols to show the data. Why is a picture graph a good way to display data? Pictures are easy to see and count. Again, what is a picture graph? A picture graph uses pictures to show data. A picture graph is a good way to display data because pictures are easy to see and count. How are the tally chart and picture graph for the favorite ball games of Miss Green's class alike? They show the same data. For your guided practice, please open your book on page 822. Use the tally chart to complete the picture graph. Then use the picture graph to solve the problems. The picture graph is about favorite colors. So we have blue, red, and purple. Let us complete the picture graph based on the tally chart. So for red, we have 6. So we will have here 6. Purple, we have 3. We are done with our picture graph. Now let us answer the questions. How many students like blue best? There are 5. Very good. Which color is the favorite of most students? Which color is the favorite of most students? So we have red. For your independent practice, please open your book on page 823. Use the tally chart to complete the picture graph. Then use the picture graph to solve the problems. You can pause this video while you are answering this practice. Let us now complete the picture graph. The picture graph is about favorite season. We have spring, summer, fall, winter. We will use the symbol stick figure. Each stick figure represents 1 vote. Are your answers correct? Excellent. Let us now answer the following questions. We will use the picture graph above. Number 4. How many students like fall best? How many students like fall best? There are 6. Okay, number 5. Which season do exactly 4 students like best? Spring season. Which season do the fewest students like? We have winter. Number 7. How many students like the season with the fewest votes? How many students? There are 2. Which season do the most students like? Most students. So we have summer season. How many students like the season with the most votes? There are 10. We are still on page 823, Higher Order Thinking. Look at the picture graph below. How would the graph change if 2 students changed their votes from summer to fall? Answer: fall and summer would both have 8 symbols. For your math practices and problem solving, please open your book on page 824. Use the tally chart to complete the picture graph. Use the picture graph to solve the problems. It's time to check your answer. The picture graph is about trees in the park. We have birch, there are only 3, oak, 6, maple, 5, and then pine trees, we have 2. So now let us compare our tally chart and picture graph. In the tally chart, there are 3 birch trees. So we have in the picture graph, we have also 3. In the tally chart, there are 6 oak trees. So in the picture graph, we have the same number. Same with maple trees and pine trees. Let us now answer questions number 12 and number 13 based on the tally chart and picture graph above. Number 12. Birch, oak, maple, and pine trees are common in North America. Which type of tree is most common in the park? So we have here the most common, we have oak trees. How many birch and maple trees are there in all? Birch trees we have 3, maple we have 5, so 3 plus 5 is equals to 8. So we have 8. Assessment. Draw a picture graph to show the data in the table. The picture graph is about favorite drink. So we have here milk, juice, and water. At the right side, we have the picture graph. The number of each item in the picture graph and in the tally chart should be the same. So let us compare. Milk in the tally chart and picture graph we have 3. Then juice we have 4. And then water we have 1. Picture graphs use a single symbol to show data. This makes it easy to compare 2 or more categories. Picture graph also uses pictures to show data. It is a good way to display data. Why? Because pictures are easy to see and count. Thank you. See you on my next video.